Hello, hello. Welcome to the Blockchain Dynamics Show.
Hello.
My name this week is Brandon Doge.
And I am Woody as usual.
This is Air by Trial Radio that you're listening to. The date today, Sunday, March 12th, 2017.
That's right. Episode number 54, and we are super excited to have a special guest, Hex, with us today. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. It's good to be here. I haven't done a show with you guys in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. For those that don't know, Hex is the one of the operators of the exchange Cryptopia.
That's right.
No one's heard of that.
Yeah.
It's one of those small exchanges, right?
A small but growing exchange, Cryptopia, is also bringing you the show today, your one-stop crypto shop.
That's right. The website is www.cryptopia.co.nz. It's a great altcoin exchange. As Hex hinted to earlier, they've been getting a lot more attention, have a lot more volume lately, so there's really just a lot of trading going on, so there's a lot of fun there. But in addition to the trading, they have a ton of other futures. They just launched this KDC clicker game that we've been really enjoying.
Right.
In addition to that, one thing I noticed this week is they have a configurable two-factor setup. You're probably used to every single exchange having different rules for what stuff uses the two-factor. On Cryptopia, you can just choose which settings you want to use two-factor and which to just use your normal login, which I think is pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's real funny listening to you guys talk about like the different features each week as you discover them. Just like, I guess it sort of attests to the scope of how much is on the site, but it's funny you'll mention like the two-factor configuration. That's been there since we added two-factor. Like, it's not new changes, it's just kind of funny.
Yeah,
like watching you guys discover stuff that's been there.
Yeah, I bet it is.
The whole time.
It does take us a while to find everything in there. I think there's still probably plenty I haven't looked at too.
Yeah, and I did just add the Google Auth this week, and that's literally why I noticed that. So yeah, it's funny that you noticed that too. In addition, they also have a 1 million dot giveaway going on right now.
That's a lot of dot.
Yeah, we the last shareholder round that we did was specifically for advertising. So now we've got an advertising campaign on the run with Google, and we've got some other stuff that we're spending that on. That's where the new logo came for the site rebrand, and the cosmetic updates that are about to happen for KDC Clicker as well. So we figured it'd be fun to do something at the same time. Like so now that we've got those ads just appearing randomly, we don't necessarily know where they'll turn up, but like on crypto related sites, ads for Cryptopia will start showing up. So first people to grab a screenshot of those out in the wild, we get 250,000 dot for each of the unique ads that are found. And
nice.
Yep, so there's 4 of those different banner ads, and each one, the first person to send a screenshot of the ad to Cryptopia will get 250,000 dot.
And I think you can do that through the forum. And while you're over there, you can also check out our forum thread there in the altcoin section and leave us a comment for a few more dots on the side.
Yep, there's plenty. dots aplenty.
All right. And also, live during the show today, we'll be giving away dots with a trivia question. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yep, it's a 20,000 dot giveaway this week. Alrighty, so we're going to jump right into the news this week. We love that news. Probably the biggest news item this week. It's got to be that Bitcoin ETF news.
Yeah, that was definitely an intense little moment there. It was funny to watch super Bitcoin volatility right when that meeting started. And then basically until the decision was made, I think everyone was on edge. It was pretty fun.
It's fun for me to think about, just like it's so kind of weird what events trigger these like huge spikes in the news. Like we noticed last week that Bitcoin crossing the parity for gold per ounce would created a huge amount of news for some reason, even though, you know, you think about it, it's a totally arbitrary distinction. And so it's kind of funny to see that this Bitcoin ETF decision also was a huge thing that people focused on. Obviously, there were some questions about, you know, the economics of what would happen if it was going to approve. And I think that's part of what, I guess, got the markets so kind of screwed up. But, I mean, it just seems like such a local and specific thing. Like, obviously, Hex, where you are, I'm sure you weren't really too concerned about what would be happening with the Bitcoin ETF, you know?
yeah, our prices over here pretty much follow what happens in the USD markets. So whatever effect it has, I mean, is probably going to see that ripple across all of the exchanges that, you know, trade against Bitcoin. But like, I don't really follow the trader stuff. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you off the head exactly what an ETF is. Like, is USDT like Tether an ETF? Like, that's just another fund that's traded, right? I'm not a trader, so I don't really pay too much attention to it all.
Yeah, that's a really good question, honestly. And to be honest, I couldn't tell you exactly what an ETF does either, or why. For instance, there's like that Ethereum Classic Trust that is allowed. I know one thing everybody was saying is that if this ETF gets approved, they're going to have to buy hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins to make it work or something, which I think is what drove a lot of the speculation. But like, I don't understand what it is about an ETF that would require that.
Like, is the only difference between this Bitcoin ETF and like Tether that one's like officially sanctioned by whatever financial marketing regulations there are? Is that?
Yeah, I think that is
all
it.
Tether is, right? It's the fund that they're trading.
Yeah, I think that is essentially the distinction. Is one of them is trying to get sanctioned by a government, and one of them doesn't need to. But I also I was kind of chill with the ETF not passing from an altcoin standpoint, because part of the tension that I was feeling there was we've seen time and time again when Bitcoin makes too fast of a run that people decide they're going to sell all their altcoins, and then altcoin traders get sad, and that makes me sad.
We all just get sad. It takes all the wind out of the market too. Like when Bitcoin is pumping, there's not as much, there's just not as much activity going on in altcoins because there's so many people paying attention to Bitcoin. And so, yeah, I was really happy to see the ETF not go through. And I think, we saw it immediately, the huge spike in altcoin volume and stuff that happened right after. I kind of think speaks to it, Like, for me, I'm happy with this price. Like, you kidding me? $1,200?
Yeah, and once again, it was another week, another Bitcoin all-time high price, so...
Yeah, that's true. There was that ridiculous spike. It was within 30-minute period on Bitfinex that it goes from, like, 1120 to 1300 to 1000 back to 1200 or something like.
Yeah.
It's funny. Bitcoin kind of proved that really they aren't cut out for an ETF. Just with that kind of ridiculousness,
Right.
Like that's a crazy move for those markets. Like that's more than you'd expect to ever see on an alt market, and it's just like happening on Bitfinex.
Right. Yeah, I definitely am not aware of all the stuff that goes into making that type of decision or even its consequences, but I just, from my limited perspective, it was not the right time for that type of thing to pass.
Yep. But yeah, as far as Bitcoin price this week, it's down just only about 3%. It's still at $1,225 when we checked it. So if it was supposed to cause some kind of huge drop in price, that hasn't happened yet, at least. And I guess we will see what happens going forward.
Definitely. In other news, Raiblocks got delisted because of aggressive support tickets stemming from them having a crappy blockchain, I guess. Hex, you probably know more about this than anyone.
Yeah, we had an insane influx of support tickets in the last month, almost solely attributed just to Raiblocks and their users. Like we've had, and the entire time the site's been running, a little over 8,000 support tickets. And in the last month, we've had 1,000 support tickets come in, nearly all of them just for XRB, which is like one coin basically taking up 13% of all of the support tickets ever in a month.
That's pretty crazy.
And a lot of it wasn't really our issue, like the network not being up to sync. Like we do our best to keep the coins up to sync and keep everything running, but like if the coin just keeps dropping out and losing sync, that's something that's outside of our control. And people just immediately jumping to conclusions of, are you scamming us? Are you stealing our coins? Or I want you to die in a fire. Like, whoa, buddy, calm down. Like, you're talking to us about like 2 cents in a transaction. You're going to dying in a fire. It's a little bit of an overreaction. But yeah, it's just a little bit crazy.
It's like, it's incredible to me that that specific coin caused such a huge amount of attention. Obviously it has to do with like the way the coins are generated with the captchas and stuff, but
the captcha stuff is unfortunate. Like we literally got posts on our own forums of people sharing scripts and captcha bots and tools to like automate it, and just like it, we're either dealing with some kind of like click farm that's been rented for basically human click labor, because even now that we've disabled it, we're seeing hundreds of accounts all withdrawing to the same address. It's like either there's some kind of community sharing address going on, or this is all just a couple of people abusing the system, kind of putting an unnecessary strain on our limited support resources. Like if we're spending all our day just answering people's tickets that for issues that aren't ourselves. We're not spending any time developing the site, releasing new features, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, understood.
It's not tenable for one coin that's not even doing great in volume or being all that active, other than like people depositing from a faucet. If that's the only activity that's going on, it doesn't warrant that kind of support.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole point of a blockchain is that kind of stuff is supposed to take care of itself. And so it gets to a point where, there's going to be some level of support expected with any coin, but you also can't expect people to want to carry a coin, that ends up being for you guys a loss or just a huge waste of time. So, I mean, I think it's completely understandable. I had a couple of Raiblocks, and I'll withdraw them and try and sell them as best as I can on the OTC market, I guess. And that's just, that's kind of how it goes when you're messing around with chains like this, like, kind of more experimental chains or chains that deviate further from the, kind of the proven Bitcoin or in some case proof of stake type systems. You have to accept that sometimes they're not going to work. Like, we kind of take for granted how well the average altcoin works these days because they've been experimented with so much, and the clones have kind of evolved to a point where the average clone is pretty damn good at this point. Like, in general, the difficulty retargeting works, the proof of stake switch works. That kind of stuff all mostly just works on coins. But when you get really, separated into these kind of newer, more experimental coins, one of the risks you run into is that something just doesn't work. And that can...
Yeah, we're also willing to list coins that are experimenting with stuff and trying new stuff out and give them a chance. But when it doesn't work, we've just got to take a step back and, we can't afford to allocate this much resource to, a coin that's, not carrying its weight in, the areas that, we need them to, for us to be able to do what we do in the first place. Like, if we're spending all of our time looking after one coin that's not even making us like fees and trade volume, etc., then we're just taking a loss in time and development time and attention to other coins that are carrying their weight. It's a matter of balancing out the coins we've got listed. We gave them a chance, and like, if they manage to sort out their distribution issues, or they finish the distribution and they're like, the faucet clicking isn't such a big deal, then they could totally be relisted, as long as it's not more effort than it's worth.
Right, nice, that's cool. And yeah, it just goes to show, they can take it back and they can, improve the tech, get it up to where it needs to be, and then maybe they can move forward from there.
And part of it is our own capacity. Like, we're still growing. Support is largely down to just 4 people. We can't afford like an entire team, but when we can, that's another way to address issues like that. If we're doing well enough that we can afford an actual support team that's just their job, then that's an option too. We're just not at that stage yet.
Right.
Well, I mean, I certainly hope that the trends continue and you can get to that level, but for now, Raiblocks is going to have to find somewhere else to trade. They did fine over the counter for a year. I have a feeling that they'll stay afloat.
In kind of some funny or lighthearted news, in my opinion, we saw a post that CryptoAsian is bringing back proof of developer.
Yeah, this is really funny to any of the old school altcoiners, I think. Back in the day, proof of developer was this thing where everyone was sick of like the really straight up scam coins like GoshenCoin and AsiaCoin, like with hidden pre-mines and exploits in the code and stuff. And so they came up with this idea of proof of developer, where these developers would send their personal information to this guy, CryptoAsian, who would then validate that he would try to validate that they are who they claim to be. And then he would give them some ranking of saying, yes, this developer is a real person or whatever.
I'd be interested for someone to come along and basically go and define the correlation between coins that had crypto proof of developer that are still around and are successful versus coins that didn't, because that should be quantifiable at this stage, right?
Yeah.
How many coins that are around actually did have proof of development, and what did that mean for those coins, and how many of the coins that had proof of development and no longer?
Yeah, and it's quite a funny list, actually. Got some gems on there, like Ripoff Coin with a 5-star proof of developer rating. And we were looking at the list earlier today, but generally it meant nothing.
Yeah, we looked at the list and nothing that we saw was still around, even like you said. And it's pretty funny because like towards the beginning of the list, people were having a hard time. Like, you'd see a lot of 3-4 star POD ratings. But by the kind of the time he stopped doing it in late 2014, every single person that came through was getting like 5 out of 5 plus. And it's because they figured out. My
general impression of it was that you were paying a guy to say, yes, you've got a developer. And that had no bearing on your development capabilities whatsoever.
Yeah, it might have been that simple. I liked to imagine that it was just such a simple process that anyone could essentially obtain the 5-star. But I'm not really sure. I never really looked into it.
But that all said,
this looks like code.
Yeah.
Approved.
Yeah, exactly. That all said, this tweet here, he says that this is from Crypto Asian this week. He says, "Coin devs looking to be listed on Bittrex exchange. We will be ramping up the proof developer program soon to help with that process." And I'm going to, I actually kind of like POD, and here's why. If you're looking at it like, oh my gosh, is this really going to tell me if this is a good developer? Like, obviously not. There's no standard of quality for like being able to verify someone's identity online and prove that they actually want to develop a coin. Like, that's an impossible goal. But it just it's like a minimum level of effort thing.
Has there been any comment from Bittrex about working with them, or is it just one of those tweets that's worded in such a way that it ambiguously sounds like it's endorsed by?
No, but it looks pretty ambiguous at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to say the second is true, more ambiguous. No, it's just a funny thing that I saw this week.
Yeah, another sort of funny thing this week was a literal shitcoin.
Yep, this is some news from South Korea. They're developing a literal shitcoin. This is a coin that people are going to get paid for using specific bathrooms. Yeah,
and the bathrooms themselves are actually really great idea of composting human waste. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of one of those things people don't like to think about, but human waste is a giant issue, and
right.
That's the most interesting part of this story to me, actually.
It's all pretty surreal, man. The amount of money here is about $8.65 million, which is like, in crypto terms, that's a lot of money. Like, that's the same as like, that's what the Golem ICO raised, for instance. And the way that it works is that donors of human waste will be rewarded with Cool, a virtual currency.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah, ideas like this, I love hearing about stuff like this where they've actually got a purpose in mind before going ahead with the currency. It's not like, hey, we've thought of a cool name and there's something we'd like to do in the future. They're straight up, this is what we're doing. They haven't really talked in the article at all about the specs of the coin itself, like whether they're going to do a clone or do some new blockchain themselves, but they've actually like got a solid, like, this is what it's going to be used for. This is its actual working case. We want to peg it to this value, which is entirely doable when you're backed by a government trying to achieve a very specific goal like this. But like, it's just funny that what you're calling as a literal shitcoin is almost exactly the opposite of what I would define as an actual shitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. A literal shitcoin is an actual good coin, essentially, which is funny. One funny note in here too. They're mentioned that each patron receives 10 coins per donation, I guess you could say, which is worth 43 cents. And then it says in here that officials are reportedly trying to push the value of 10 coins to $3.12 by 2020.
Okay.
So they're going to pump it. Make no mistake.
Oh, man. Well, this article is just really interesting. It'd be funny to see if we actually manage to see this get traded anywhere, or even hear about it in the future, basically.
Yeah, this is on...
Seems pretty distant still.
It's on CryptoCoinsNews.com, and I'm not sure how reliable their source is, but it's a really funny article.
We also want to remind everybody to feel free to send us news, funny, interesting, just crypto or altcoin related. Check out blockchaindynamics.net. There's a contact form there, or head on over to our forum on Cryptopia and leave us a message.
Yeah, we love coin updates, that kind of stuff. So that will do it for the news section. Next up, we are going to jump into the markets. We already touched on the markets a little bit with Bitcoin, but really kind of the craziest thing about the markets for us as alt traders this week was what happened after the ETF got denied.
Right.
And the whole alt scene just like instantly went crazy. It went from like every coin on Polo being down to every single coin being up within like an hour, basically.
Yeah. And leading the way big time was Dash.
Yeah, Dash again, man. We so many times have been wrong about thinking it's going to be the end for Dash. It just never stops.
Yep. Going up 86% against Bitcoin this week.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Dash is the coin where like every single rule or every single thing I think I've figured out about crypto It's like it's true except for Dash. Dash just like does its own thing all the time. It's unbelievable. But yeah, Chillin broke the 500 million market cap this week. Really, they're getting up there. I keep wanting to call the top, but I can't even do it anymore because it would just be ridiculous to even try.
Yeah, I've been seeing that sentiment all over Twitter this week.
Maybe that means it is almost done if everyone's finally at the like stage of complete shock, but
maybe.
Who knows? So yeah, that's what's going down with Dashcoin. We also had Ethereum way up this week. They crossed the $2 billion threshold. That's up 24% against Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a huge rise for such a big market.
Yeah, really leading the way once again. I guess we were kind of wondering which alts were going to be leading the charge after the Bitcoin pump, and right now it's Dash and Ethereum, bar none, I think.
Both coins not listed on Cryptopia.
Is that true? I didn't know you guys don't have Dash.
Yeah, it depends which Dash you're talking about. I assume you're talking about the one that's DASH, not DSH.
Yeah, the dark coin.
The one that stole the name Dash.
Yep, exactly. They seized it.
I kind of remember that, and then the other Dash getting pumped that same day or something hilarious like that.
And yep, as far as Ethereum, one number we've been tracking is this stat of ETH dominance, which is just the value of Ethereum relative to the value of all the other altcoins put together. And this week it's up 1% to 47.9%. So Ethereum alone now is almost half the alt market. Compared to when we started tracking that stat about 2 months ago, it was about 38%. So it's really kind of broken away in that sense.
Definitely seems that way.
As far as altcoins in general, they're up 18%. Another new all-time high for altcoins at $4.32 billion in combined market cap. That's market cap for every altcoin.
Wow. I mean, I know that there's a lot of different stuff inside of there, but it's a growing number.
I mean, it definitely just blew the previous ceiling away again. Like it's hard to believe that really it's all going down this rapidly. It's awesome. I think we were all kind of, after the Bitcoin pump, we were kind of waiting for the effects to hit altcoins. And I think it's definitely happening. Maybe that ETF decision really gave people, like, maybe they felt like they had permission or something to start pumping up these alts. But it does seem like, on Shitcoin Talk they mentioned it felt like any market maker who was worth anything was pumping their coins on Friday. And I kind of, I can sympathize with that because I really feel like a lot of people showed their hands, I guess, is what they were saying. One interesting thing about the numbers in alts this week is that the median gains were actually pretty low. The average altcoin, so to speak, only went up about 0.5%. And so it was really what's bringing these numbers up is the huge surge in Ethereum and Dash.
Okay, yeah.
But even if you exclude Ethereum, altcoins in general are still up 16% overall. So there were a lot of big pumps besides just those two as well.
Interesting. As far as specific gainers and losers in the last 7 days, CloakCoin's way up 165%. Decred's up 103%. Dash, as we mentioned, is up 86%. And ShadowCash up 72%.
Yeah, really cool list there. Just looking at all the coins that are up. ShadowCash up 72%. That's pretty surprising. I was not expecting that. We got CloakCoin up 165. It's all these old...
bunch of old Anon coins.
Yeah, old Anon coins that are doing it. Obviously because of Dash, I guess. But it's always funny to me how that works. Like, you can just get away. Like, you just... Oh, I made a Dash clone. I can just get away with pumping it because Dash is pumping. But apparently it must work.
Yeah.
It's funny. And Decred... doubling up this week, man. That's huge.
Yeah. Congratulations to all of those coins. And then on the other side of the fence, Golos down 46%, DubaiCoin down 28%, Steem Coin down 20%, and Pascal down 9%.
Yeah, really nothing too surprising there. Golos continuing to tumble. DubaiCoin cooling off after like the 19th consecutive pump of that coin. Steem Coin continues to go down, and Pascal, so yeah.
Yep.
Really not bad numbers, though. The coins that are down aren't down by very much compared to what we're used to.
Right.
Just shows how bullish the overall market is, I think. Alrighty, that is going to do it for the markets segment. Really ridiculous week in the markets, and
yeah, really just fun times to watch and be part of too. I guess I didn't actually do that much. Didn't need to really. Everything seemed to be going up a little bit.
Yeah, fortunately for me, on Friday I was at work, so I didn't have to deal with the stress of trying to trade any of that Bitcoin ridiculousness, because I don't think I would have made good decisions.
Right. I think that up next is going to be our DOT giveaway. So this has to be claimed by the end of the broadcast, or else the coins will roll over into next week's jackpot.
It's true.
You'll win by sending a direct message to @ChainDynamics on Twitter with the answer to the question, on what date did the StatCoin developer disappear along with all of the ICO funds? First person to answer correctly gets 20,000 dots sent to them.
That's right.
I'll match that if you want to make it 40,000.
Okay, we
sweet.
got a match.
We got 40,000 dots on the line. That question again, on what date did the StatCoin developer disappear along with all of the ICO funds? One of crypto's great memorable scams, StatCoin.
So we'll see if anyone can come up with that answer. And up next is our rolling review of coins.
The rolling review. This is a segment we've really been liking. The whole point of this is we try to keep up with some of these new coins, some of these plucky upstarts, and see what, just try and see what happens to them kind of between when they get launched and until they kind of reach that major listing point where they become a household name.
Yeah. So, first on our rolling review this week is a coin called PonyCoin that's been on here for a little while.
Yeah, PonyCoin's been on here for quite a while. I think it launched probably at least a month or two ago. I'm not sure exactly, but where we left off with this coin is it's really... the reason I'm watching this is it's like... PonyCoin is like the minimum effort required to make a coin and still have it be a coin that I would want to watch. In the sense that there's the theme doesn't make any sense, like PonyCoin, okay, whatever.
It's a thoroughbred of script.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Come ride with us.
This guy gets it. It's the thoroughbred of script.
It's such a funny...
But
it's one of those coins we were talking about earlier where they've picked a name and then they've described the basic functionality of a blockchain and they're hoping that you'll buy it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly what it is. But it also has specs that don't make you want to punch yourself. It's got a shortish proof of work.
It might not make you want to punch yourself. They make me want to punch myself.
What don't you like about these specs? Is it the short
POS
POW?
for a start.
Short POW. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Not a fan of POS.
Yeah, so at this point it's all mined out. The proof of work is over, and so it was very under the radar proof of work. So probably some pretty big holders out there. But I managed this week to get listed on an exchange called Novaexchange, and that is about the rolling review for PonyCoin.
Well, the reason PonyCoin is interesting for me is because, like Hex said, it's just the minimum effort Bitcoin clone you can make. It's a short proof of work, so it does switch over to POS, like he said, which also it gives you a valuation right away, right? The coins are already distributed. And so it's sitting here, it's trading on Novaexchange right now with a market cap of 12 Bitcoins or something. And so for me, that basically says, as an indicator, that's okay, the lowest effort altcoin you can do and still have it not be just a complete pre-mined Yobit scam, essentially, is still going to be worth. Go ahead.
I like how we can agree exactly on what the premise of the coin is and agree on exactly what it is, but come to completely different conclusions based on that. You're all for it. I'm just another fucking shit coin.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. And it's worth $12,000. These guys just made this ridiculous thing, and in we all know how nebulous the market cap definition is, but still they've created this weird value token out of nothing. I love that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's what PonyCoin will get you.
We have a winner of the DOT giveaway.
Oh,
already?
Nice. Sweet.
Yep. So I'll take care of that after the show.
Nice. Well, congratulations to you, DOT giveaway winner. So next up on our rolling review, the coin we're going to look at is called HideCoin. Let's see where we left off. HideCoin, Woody couldn't get his wallet working.
Yep, and then I finally did. It was weird. I don't really know what I changed, so it was all very strange, but
now it's working.
It's working, and I'm happy about that because I can mine it with my CPU.
Yep, there's really not too many people mining it right now. It's just CPU mine only. The point of this coin is that it's a ground-up cryptocurrency written in Node.js, but otherwise it's not really trying to offer much else. And it's just kind of a fun little crypto.
Yep.
Next up, we're going to talk about a coin called Zero.
Zero
caught our attention, I guess, because it's a Zcash clone, but they tweaked the specs in some interesting ways to make the mining a lot more challenging. And it really seemed like it was getting a ton of attention in its first couple of weeks, but I'm kind of feeling like the hype is dying off on it.
Yeah, that's usually what happens with these coins, too. It's at least some point.
Yeah.
What happens after that, it can be a real test, I guess. I have no real opinion on this particular coin, but I like the idea of making mining harder, just for fun even.
Yeah, that's true. And it's kind of positioning itself as a competitor to Z Classic, so I feel like, Z Classic came out pretty strong. Like, they were able to build a lot of interest right away, so if they're going to come out of that shadow, it's kind of expected for them to be quiet maybe within the first couple months of the mining, but at some point they're going to have to try and do something to get attention, I think.
I see coins like this as kind of like an interesting validation of some of the decisions that Bitcoin Core have made, because Zcash was originally part of Bitcoin, right? And they decided not to implement it, like it's still all there in the code.
Yep.
And that's where they forked it from. It's shown it's not any kind of like a game changer. It's not going to like make them any more successful past the hype that's already dying down, like you said, for the whole Zcash thing. Like, Bitcoin left it out. Like, they've got, by virtue of being like a clone, they've got way more flexibility to experiment with stuff like that and try it out. But it ultimately, I think it just validates the decision not to include it in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's interesting. And also what we've seen like with Zcoin, which is a different coin, obviously, but they have had huge implementation problems, with all the new coins being generated and all that kind of stuff. So I think you're saying, like, for Bitcoin, obviously, I think it was the right move.
Yeah, definitely, one nice thing about all of the way that Bitcoin's designed is that it's really difficult to get anything to happen. I know that that's really frustrating, but it's also probably a good thing.
Part of the beauty of it is that these other coins can experiment with these ideas that Bitcoin doesn't have the flexibility to experiment with. Like, it's a lot easier for Zcash to mess around with using Zcash on its network than it is for Bitcoin. And if it worked out really well, then Bitcoin has the option of adding it in because it's been proven, but they don't necessarily have the luxury of proving it themselves.
Right.
Just because it's a much more valuable asset. Like, it's a lot more effort involved in making sure that stuff works. Like, they can't just willy-nilly add changes, and that could potentially bring down their massive network.
Exactly. Totally agree.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about altcoins, too, is that they it's like we see so many altcoins implementing new things, and a lot of it doesn't work and a lot of it fails. But the end result kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in the Raiblocks section, is that, like, the average altcoin these days is actually a pretty high-quality product that has a lot of, in many cases, improvements to Bitcoin. In many cases, things you could say are detrimental. But a lot of just, like, interface stuff, retargeting algorithms, things like coin control. Coin control, was that Bitcoin first? I'm not sure about that.
I don't know. I've never ran the Bitcoin Core wallet.
But Bitcoin is never going to be the testing ground for all of these ideas, and that's why it's good to have all these altcoins trying. And if they fail, that's no big deal. And if they succeed, that's no big deal. And if they end up being butchered and like distributed amongst other things, so the parts that don't work and the parts that do work, that's also fine. Like, that's just the process working as it should.
Yeah, exactly. And then it all happens in this weird kind of with the backdrop of these crazy altcoin markets and all these new coins and stuff. So it's really, I think it's kind of a cool way for the system to experiment with stuff.
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was just going to say that's it for Zero.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say another coin we've been kind of watching out of the corner of our eye was Pink Dog Coin.
Pink Dog Coin.
This was definitely a silly coin, and it had really good momentum at the very beginning, and then it really fell off.
Yep.
The momentum, that is.
Unfortunately, the only news we have for Pink Dog Coin this week is that it has lower lows, and the developer is still nowhere to be seen. So just looking like a kind of a classic altcoin disappearing act right now. really
the problem with coins like Pink Dog Coin is that we've already got dog, right? Like the funny coin's been done and it's stuck around. It's not going anywhere. Like you're not going to think of something funnier than dog that's going to replace like basically the meme coin. Like we have an established meme coin. Like we don't need a second one or a third one or a 400th one.
Yeah, but what about the 500th one, man? Eventually they'll strike gold. Yeah, it's not looking good for Pink Dog Coin. This coin's weird because it's forked off the SegWit version of Bitcoin Core, which is unusual for altcoins to say the least. So it begs the question of why did they go through all the effort to do and just abandon the coin right away? And we may never know. Anything can happen still.
Right.
But yeah, that's what's going on with Pink Dog Coin right now. Lower lows.
Another one on the rolling review is Pascal Lite.
That's right, Pascal Lite. It's probably the only still surviving Pascal clone, I would say.
Yeah, not many of them made it.
No, and this is my favorite of the Pascal clones as well because the guy kind of made it without any pretenses. They tweaked the mining parameters a small amount, a little bit slower blocks, and slightly smaller reward. But other than that, it's just exactly the same as Pascal coin, and it kind of it takes the wind out of the sails of any of the kind of what would be your crappier clones by just being like, we're gonna have one good clone of Pascal. Here it is.
Oh.
But as far as what's going on with them this week, they submitted for their Cryptopia listing, so that may or may not happen. And yeah, they're just waiting on that.
Have they? I haven't seen it. I'll go look.
And then continuing the review, we are also looking at Renos.
Yeah, that's right. Renos was an airdrop coin from a couple of weeks ago. Came out the gate with a really high price. Just offering people a lot of money for their airdrops, which is it's just an interesting thing to see. But it has cooled off this week like a lot of these other coins, which is not surprising.
Right, we're seeing a lot of cool-offs in these kind of smaller, hyped-up coins.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, normally when Bitcoin's going weird, we've noted that it tends to have, like, higher altcoin market caps tend to suffer when Bitcoin's being really volatile. But the lower caps just kind of don't care. They keep doing their own thing. It seems like this week we're seeing the opposite. Like, the high cap coins are doing really well this week. And we've seen a lot of the small caps cool off or just kind of disappear. But Renos, I wouldn't say it's disappeared, honestly. I still think it's doing fine. It's one of those coins where it's going to go into a low period. It's going to settle. The price is going to settle down for a long time. And the developers are going to see if there's any interest. If there is, they might pick it back up and try and do a release or something, or do a pump behind some kind of hype event. But as it is, it might go the other way. They might see that people aren't interested and just let it die. So that's kind of my expectation for Renos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be a good one to just keep an eye on. Also on the list is Neuron.
This falls into the category of a lot of these other coins this week. It was looking good the first couple of weeks and is either abandoned or just really cooling off this week. Last week, it had just started mining. There was only about 1 Bitcoin worth in circulation, but the price was higher and it was looking like it would work out to be about 12 Bitcoins for the total supply. I think this is a 300,000 block proof of work, so a little bit longer, but still nothing compared to a long proof of work coin.
Right, yeah. Definitely a little bit better for miners than, you're in 80% of the 90% of the coins we saw in that one time period.
Yeah, it was all right.
But still, nothing super special, I guess.
This week it's cooled way off. Currently below 1 Bitcoin market cap, and the price is now so low that it's kind of pointing towards only a 3 Bitcoin market cap by the end of POW, which is... I'm finding, going back to PonyCoin, which is like 12 Bitcoins, that kind of shows you that this is well below the baseline, so it's kind of pointing towards... it's probably dead, but in the event that the developer returned, it might have a rebound, so in a sense it could be undervalued, but it doesn't look good right now.
Right.
And the difficulty is like so low, it's like lower than... The hash rate is lower than you could even rent on NiceHash.
One final interesting coin for the rolling review this week is OneCoin.
This is the new OneCoin.
Right. This coin featured no pre-mine and a sort of slow start to mining, which I like.
This is a long proof of work, so that's your shit right there, right, Hex?
Yeah, but I don't know how I'm supposed to take them seriously when they've called themselves OneCoin. Like, if you don't have the presence of mind to not pick a coin that has a bunch of baggage and a bunch of negative attached to it, like, you could have picked any name that would have been better than OneCoin. Like, you've immediately lost a bunch of people because of OneCoin.
I think that's kind of what they were going for in a way. Like, they, on the one hand, they lost a bunch of people, but on the other hand, they've like attracted this army of trolls, and now a lot of the attention that comes from that, of like, you know, the actual OneCoin supporters and their sock puppets or whatever. And so they've kind of generated a lot of attention that way, which I think is interesting. Like, even though they are alienating people, like, if you can imagine if this coin had launched as, you know, 2Coin or something, like, we probably wouldn't even be talking about it right now.
Well, I don't know. We still would have noticed those mining stats, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I have like the mining specs from the start, I guess. That's a good point. But the coin is OneCoin. It did get listed. Did it get listed last week or this week?
Last week.
Did it? Oh. Well, it's listed. It's trading. And this one has actually a really high price for what the specs are. It's a super long proof of work, right? So the mining has just started. Like, there's going to be tons more coins than they already are. So
same mistake over and over.
Yep, exactly. It's a 5.4 Bitcoins cap right now, but in order for it to maintain that price over the course of a year, you know, you're looking at hundreds of Bitcoin market cap, or the price has to go down.
Well, they need to find an actual use for it. If they provide a service that there's demand for, that people can spend it on, then that'll make the price go up as well. Like, I don't see any kind of plans like that mentioned. It's just like, here's another coin, here's the parameters we've set for the coin. It's just another coin. It's got the fact that there's no pre-mine or insta-mine or anything like that going for it, but it's just a coin. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and I don't get the sense that they're going to be driving towards anything like that either. I think they're just trying to get away with the minimum amount of effort.
And we'll just see how that goes.
Alrighty, that does it for the rolling review this week. As we said, we kind of are seeing a lot of these coins cooling off a little bit. I think we're going to end up seeing a lot of these coins. We might not see them again. You know, they might have had their run already. But we'll still try and keep up with the ones that survive.
Absolutely. And so let's go through a whole bunch of new coins.
Yeah, in addition to all those new coins, new-ish coins that we're waiting to hit major markets, we're now going to check out a bunch of brand new coins from this week.
Right. And at the top of the list, at the top of the proof of work lists, is BioBar.
BioBar.
What do we got here?
We got ourselves a high pre-mine coin with inaccurate, misleading specifications. It is ostensibly for charity. As always with any charity, you have to wonder how a blockchain could ever possibly help them.
All right, so we might as well just move right along with the announcements. Charlie Chaplin coin.
Charlie Chaplin, this is a high pre-mine wallet builders coin.
We picked a name.
Yep, exactly.
We've picked a name.
It is. This is a name plus the word coin.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's like one of those things where Charlie Chaplin's descendants are incredibly litigious. Maybe they'll try to.
They're going to come after him.
Attention.
Yeah, right. Don't think they're going to be seeing this one on their radar. It's just another one of those kind of Yobit dumping coins.
Yep.
Along those lines, we had another coin this week called Maxi. You might be seeing it around. This is another coin with a super high pre-mine and really inaccurate specs. That always drives me nuts.
Yeah, it really isn't great if they can't take the time to get that right in the post.
Just count the numbers up correctly, please. That's all I want. It's funny. So yeah, there's 10,000 blocks. The block reward is 175, right? So that means it's going to be 1.75 million would be the number of coins. Or is that right?
Even when they get the numbers right, I still find those pre-mines to be somewhat misleading. Like a 5% pre-mine overall could still be like a year's worth of block mining time. Like,
absolutely,
you look at it and go 5%. That's not a lot, but then when you actually consider how long it would take them to mine that long, it's like, oh, okay, you've just given yourself a year's worth of coins.
Yeah, it just makes it ridiculous. Like, it used to be like a 5% pre-mine on a 10,000 block proof of work, and you're like, all right, well, this is all kind of a joke anyway, so I'll go with it. But then for it to do that, like you said, on a coin that mines for 10 years, it is ridiculous. But yeah, that's Maxi coin. You're going to be seeing it probably on the smaller exchanges. We also had Tattoo coin this week.
I think this one's actually a re-announcement.
Is it really?
Yeah.
A coin for the tattoo generation?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just another one of these high pre-mine coins.
We're also taking a look at Stalin coin. This is basically exactly like the Chaplin coin.
Yeah,
Charlie Chaplin coin.
Yeah, we had a lot of generic launches this week. Not that we haven't normally, but they're still hard at work. It's just a high pre-mine X11, so nothing to see there. We also have a coin called Impact Coin. This one looked alright, I guess. This was a short proof of work. No pre-mine, but the difficulty retargeting algorithm wasn't working right, and so there was a huge insta-mine, so they canceled it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes people will relaunch, and other times it just kind of ends.
Ride it out.
I wonder if we'll see it come back or try again under another name.
Usually Instamine, people will just ride it out, but I don't know. You never know what this guy was going for to begin with.
Right.
Like, if you're going to make a super low effort coin like this, what is it about the Instamine that is like, that's the bridge too far, you know? Like, he was like, hey, I was okay with the super front-loaded distribution, but the 1,000 block Instamine is too much.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe he'll relaunch it. We'll see. That coin was Impact.
Another coin that was posted this week is called Identity.
Identity. This is our crypto.
New World Order coin.
Say what?
New World Order coin.
Yeah, they're going to get you.
Just the general vibe I got from that. We're citizens of Earth. Singularity. NWO.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't actually even notice that part until just now. That's kind of interesting. And it's our crypto note coin of the week, as Brandon said, too. We usually see one crypto note coin every week.
Yep, and this one is Identity. And yeah, it's funny. I didn't even notice the theme before. It's funny that you caught on to that. The singularity.
Together we will become citizens of Earth. A global singularity. We're all part of the global community.
Dude, it's all because of this one crypto note coin. Can you believe it?
So we'll see if we hear about this one or not. Most of the crypto note coins kind of go by the wayside, but every once in a while one sticks around. We'll see.
I'm sure we'll see a fresh one next week as well.
Another coin hot on the block is Epsilon.
Epsilon. This just launched today. Man, this one has really front-loaded rewards. SHA 256. The block reward starts at 100, but by block 8,000 is down to 50. Looks like people are still waiting for pools.
This is one of those no shit, here's the details, just fucking, we made a coin, go. No
Right.
logo, just here's the specs, done. Specs
Yeah.
and links to the source. Here's a pool, go.
Yeah, it's funny. They've really distilled it to an art form at this point. You know, there's not as much. And there used to be a lot more fanfare with these new posts. Like, they wouldn't post it without having some banners and some graphics that they paid somebody like a tenth of a Bitcoin for or whatever. And now that we're not so lucky these days, we just get plain text.
But this one doesn't have a pre-mine, and it's not an ICO, so that's nice compared
It's not
to
boss.
Yeah, it's not. It's not the worst one of the week.
It'll go POS. I guarantee it. Oh, maybe not.
No, just go one coin
No,
forever.
Look,
on
it just
there.
does one coin forever.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Nice. Actually, I would have minded this if I had been watching the thread when the pool went up, but I think it might already be too late.
You never know.
Is it seriously too late? This was posted hours ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the world we live in.
This the world we've come to is that's ancient.
done.
Fucking
It's
5 years, five hours old. Who's going to mine that? It's over. It's done.
Yeah, my game on these is if I can't get the Instamine, I don't usually mine them. So right when the pool adds it is your best chance to just drop nice hash on it and get 50 blocks. But
If you go for the instant mine, shouldn't the goal be to get in before the pool is announced? Just solo mine on low difficulty.
Yeah, but then you have to have a solo machine, and then you got to build the wallet and all that. This
You
is
won't
like
want to work for your money.
Exactly. I'm talking about the lazy man's Instamind. I'm talking about signing on. To
You just
Nefarious.
want money to fall into your lap.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I'm used to it, man. I was around in 2014. I'm used to not having to work for it. So now I just wait.
So you want to get your lotto tickets, then you want to just sit back.
Just scratch away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. One final proof of work or proof of stake coin this week is Honey. And this one's claiming no ICO, no pre-mine as well.
But it did. They launched this on Bitcoin Garden first, and then it mined for like a day before they did the Bitcoin Talk post.
Okay.
Which I'm actually fine with that. Like, we could have seen it on Bitcoin Garden. That still falls within my, I don't know what you call it, my fairness radar or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
My cutoff, my completely arbitrary set of standards that I use to judge these altcoins.
See, now if this was actually just like some beekeepers that were backing a cryptocurrency with honey and selling the honey and trading it for this honey coin, like that would be dope. I'd totally get behind that. But it's just we've picked a name. We've picked a name, and here's our coin. Like it's a horrible trend. It's an awful trend. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, like Hex is saying, this coin doesn't have any plans or relations to honey aside from the name.
No, 90. I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, all these coins that are coming out, most of them have no pretense. Most of the ones that do have a pretense are making it up. Like, they're never going to follow through with it. It's like, maybe 1 in 200, 1 in 300 coins that actually will follow through with any kind of innovation that might be considered worthwhile.
And that one will get called a scam.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I kind of like it that way because it doesn't make sense for it. It would never work for the only coins to get posted to all be good coins, like in a way there kind of has to be all these crappy coins. It's just part of the system.
Plus, we just kind of like them.
Yeah,
like reading them.
I like wading through them and seeing how much money they're worth.
So we also like to take a look at some relaunches, re-announcements, pre-announcements, and just posts that don't fit into other categories very well.
That's right. First up this week is a one called Volt. This is a pre-announcement for a remittance coin. I don't think this will ever launch.
What's a remittance coin? Is that a coin that used to be active and just died on the network? Because there used to be a Volt coin, didn't there?
There was a Volt coin, you're right, yeah. I think you're right. There was a coin.
What exactly is a remittance coin?
By that I mean it's like a coin that is pretending to be used for remittances instead of some other use case. So
right.
it's
I
the
thought
Bitcoin.
You meant it was like reviving the old Volt or something.
Oh, no.
Okay, no, all right.
No, it just means they're trying to, instead of just saying that they have Bitcoin's futures, they're trying to claim one of the things that people want to use Bitcoin for.
Right.
In this case, it's remittances, but yeah, I don't think they're going to launch it. We also had an announcement for a coin this week called, is that Amos? Did I get that right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Amos, Asset Management Instrument Solutions. That is a tough.
Amos is probably a safe bet with an acronym, right? It's not actually a word, so you can pronounce it however you want.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. It's like an ETH token or something. It's tough to take this seriously.
Yeah, I mean, the distribution is largely bounties I can see here. It seems like one of their primary things they're talking about, really.
All right, that's what I remember about this coin. The distribution, 70% of Amos tokens will be set aside for distribution as bounties, already distributed.
Oh.
So apparently they've sold off 70% of the blockchain for what I can't imagine, because there's literally, there's nothing here. They do have a white paper.
All right. So that's a pre-announcement anyway, so we'll see if anything ever comes of it. Another pre-announcement, Zillion Coin.
Zillion Coin.
Is there a zillion of them?
I can only wish.
That would have been sweet. I mean, at least that would have made sense.
The first coin to achieve a block reward that's a fictional number. I think that would be a really good feature.
Yeah.
Immediately cloned to million, billion, trillion coin.
Gajillions coin, that could be the subunit. I think this is one that's also not likely to launch. It's just a generic X11 post with not really much info.
We'll keep an eye out.
Next up on the list here is a coin called Zen Cash. All right, we've waded through a lot of crap, but I think that this might be probably the best post this week.
Really, what do you like about this one?
It's a Z Classic. This is based on Z Classic. They're going to do a snapshot of the Z Classic blockchain and then use that to create Zen Cash. But it's actually kind of funny. So the backstory of this coin is like they made Z Classic to take out the developer rewards for Zcash, and that was like the whole basis of their thing. This post is them saying, we give up, we don't want to do it without the pre-mine. So they're now going to create Zen Cash, do the snapshot from Z Classic, but add a pre-mine.
Surely the logical solution would just be to stick with the original chain. Like, oh, we were going to remove the developer rewards, but now we can't be bothered. But we're still going to fork it. And now we're going to have two chains with two sets of developer rewards.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, this is a really weird one. Huh. So, where they say they're looking at around the end of April there for the actual snapshot day.
Yep, they're going to do the snapshot thing. The last big snapshot was NXT 2.0/Ardor. And so I'm curious to see how this compares. Obviously, it's so weird. It's like it's anachronistic to create a coin where the entire hype of your coin is removing a pre-mine or a reward system and then just kind of integrating a new one with this method. It's really funny. I like it. So yeah, strange goings on in the Z clone world.
So that'll be, if that one gets launched, that'll be a fun one to talk about. And then we kind of just like to blow through the ICO announcements. Usually if one's going to come up, it'll come up a little bit later, closer to its launch or something. This week we saw posts for Save the Tigers, the Vegan Initiative, the Bitcoin Movie, GoshenCoin, Lunar, Bitcoin Refill, SoarCoin, Jobber, Gambio, and the Scarab Experiment.
Yep, that's just a bunch of IPOs right there. So let's see. Let's take a look back at the new coins. Honestly, nothing too impressive this week. We had a couple of more interesting weeks for new coins the past couple of weeks, and we're kind of back to baseline this week with mostly just clones and IPOs.
Yeah, but I'm also happy to at least see some no pre-mine coins getting launched.
Yeah, that's true, even if they're not that great.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it beats, I'd rather have some mediocre no pre-mine coins than just all 20% pre-mine kind of wallet builders type stuff.
Yeah. There was a period where it seemed like there was not a single no pre-mine coin.
It's true. There was. That actually happened. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that does it for the new coins this week. Next, we're going to jump into the listings. We always started off with mining pools, and this week SuprNova added Hemp International.
Okay.
I mind a little bit. We'll see how well it plays out. Staking away.
We also cover exchange listings, and at the top of the list for us is Cryptopia.
That's
Yay.
right. Yay!
You want to tell us the listings from Cryptopia this week, Hex?
Sure. We listed Melite, I think it's pronounced Melite, Visio, Netko, Renoscoin, Tether, Decred, Zcash, and Nav.
That's right. And that Tether, that's a base pair edition. Honestly...
That's what they've got written down. Sorry, Saddam's just agreeing with me on what we've listed. He
oh, really?
doesn't think I list right.
Yeah, so a cool list there. I think Tether's really interesting because it's just a cool base pair to add, and there's an interesting dynamic that happens between Tether prices and altcoin prices anytime that there's a huge spike or drop in Bitcoin, and I really like watching that all go down.
Over on Bittrex, they listed Crown, Swarm Token, which used to be Arcade City, and Chronobank.
Just another weird list of selections from Bittrex.
Yobit listed Dash, Lizi, Macron, Nefarious, Visio, Tattoo, BioBar, Argus, and Wisdom.
That's about what you'd expect from Yobit. They just
Yobit added Wisdom?
What's Wisdom?
Yobit's never had Wisdom.
Over on Novaexchange, they listed PonyCoin.
Yep.
And Livecoin listed Obits and eDinar Coin. And finally, CoinExchange.io listed OneCoin, CucciCoin, MaxiCoin, Anarchist Prime, and the Vegan Initiative.
That's the new OneCoin, of course. Alrighty, interesting set of listings this week. I feel like Bittrex gets a lot of hassle for these kind of goofy listings, but I'm pretty sure these are like all paid listings. Like these are just people who are ponying up for the fee.
Yeah.
What really annoys me is I wish they would add some coins that don't pay up the fee. Like it's pretty obvious that if you're only adding coins that are willing to pay whatever their fee is, like 3 Bitcoins or something, like it seems like the subset of coins that are willing to pay that fee also happen to be just kind of coins that people don't like.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
From an exchange perspective, though, it is really hard to pick which coins you should just straight up add. Like, you don't necessarily have time to be trawling through all the Bitcoin talk threads, reading up on, the threads, keeping up to date on what's happening, what promises are being kept, and what people's reactions to them are. Like, there's no way for me to tell, a good performing coin from a shit coin, just at the amount of time I have to allocate looking at coins, which isn't much, right? So, like, we've tried tons of ways of having coins added. Like, we had votes for a while, and then that just ended up being bag holders finding a cheap way to get coins that are about to die listed on the exchange so that they could dump. Like, the easiest way is just, if they're going to pay the listing fee, then they're committing to at least that. So, I mean, I don't have anything against other exchanges just straight up listing coins for a listing fee. That's what we've ended up doing.
Yeah, it's funny. I guess for me, the weird, it's like there's a dynamic where the higher that fee becomes, the weirder the coins get in a way. You guys, your fee is still low enough that kind of anybody who wants to pay can, they can get listed and be seen. So you end up getting a really big cross section of coins, and a lot of those are going to be really bad coins. Like, we're used to bad coins getting listed, but every once in a while you'll get that one really good coin, and if you're kind of doing it the way Bittrex is doing it, it seems like they're not getting those random good coins that they need to bring the interest back. But
it's also a bit of a balancing act, because they could pay the listing fee and then be completely inactive for 3 years with the blockchain still functioning, but not actually doing anything, and you've still got to pay the hosting costs for listing that coin the entire time it's there, and they've paid up the one-off fee, right, not necessarily generating any fees or anything for you. So it's got a balancing act between finding what the right listing fee is, what the requirements for keeping the coin on are. I'm not a fan of the arbitrarily defining and shifting goalposts like they're doing, but it's not an easy solution.
Yeah, honestly, those are all good points, and it is cool to hear a kind of an exchange perspective on that kind of thing. Because it's easy for us as people who, we live and breathe these coins. It's easy for us to make fun of the selections or what gets listed, but we also haven't spent the time to build an exchange. We're not spending our time doing that, so it's easy for us to say, I guess.
And I guess we'll move into our coin birthday section then.
Sweet. Love to wrap it up with the coin birthdays.
Absolutely. And we'll start it off with some 1-year coins. Happy birthday to Novaexchange.
All right, Novaexchange.
That was March 7th, 2016.
Yay.
And then another happy birthday to Mimetic, which started off as Pepe. That is March 5th, 2016.
Oh, okay. Pepe Coin, this is when the Mimetic chain went live, right? That's the birthday date.
It's the date that is on the Mimetic block explorer.
Okay.
Which is what I go off of, their first block. I don't know what might have happened between the other chain or whatever.
Alrighty, well, happy 1-year birthday to those coins.
And then we also have a couple 3-year birthdays that seemed fair to mention. One of them is Faircoin.
Okay, nice.
That was March 4th, 2014. And then HempCoin, the one that's ticker is THC, that was March 5th, 2014. And they got mentioned, I think, I still see them on Bittrex there hanging out. Just same spot they were when we were talking about their happy 2nd birthday last year. So
that's funny. Nice job, Faircoin, and nice job, HempCoin.
Yep.
Congratulations on a 3-year birthday. Alrighty, and I think that is going to do it here at Blockchain Dynamics. This has been show number 54. We want to say a huge thanks to you, Hex, for stopping by and hanging out with us.
No problem. I should probably remember to send you that $20,000.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get it sorted out.
Yep. Yeah, big thanks, man. We really appreciate it. And your perspective on coins.
We are, of course, brought to you guys by Cryptopia.co.nz. Definitely go and check them out. They're a great altcoin exchange and platform. Tons of features. You got the mineshaft, you got the tipping and the troll box. Of course, you have the exchange, so definitely head on over, check us out. We have a thread there in the altcoin section.
That's right, and this was episode number 54, Blockchain Dynamics. That's blockchaindynamics.net. Themes from Grammatic, Air by Trial Radio, and we'll see you next week with heavier bags.
Peace.
Now,